Hi, everybody. We're here again. And this time, Gravity's going to walk us through some incredible balls, how Gravity would kind of navigate. You would judge these, right?
Not this one, but
Not
yeah,
this
and
one. Okay.
sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes you do. So, but you have that kind of lens of how this scene
Mm,
operates in multiple facets. So,
right.
we're going to be kind of watching through some of Gravity's recommended footage. I'm really excited for it. So, Gravity, let's take it away. How do you want to set this up?
Sure. So we're going to be watching the category of Butch Queen Vogue Femme. This is from the Alpha Omega BRTV inaugural awards ball in 2020. This was in New York in, I want to say, February or late January of 2020, so right before the pandemic.
Mm.
I was going back and forth about like which ball to show. As sort of like a introduction to watching sort of primary footage from the ballroom scene. And I ended up going on this one because I think it was a really sort of great category with a lot of moments that people remember to this day. And it also kind of highlights a lot of the sort of expectations and standards that you would have. So just to set up beforehand, we're going to be watching parts of this. I have some timestamps of like, specific moments that I think were really good to see, slash all the battles pretty much. But I wanted to say up front that like if you are in this video and you're not in the parts that we show, it's not shade, it's not anything like that. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like 2 hours long of because this is very raw footage. So there's dead space. There's like some parts where it's like a 4 minute long performance that has like 30 seconds of voguing or whatever. So just for the sake of you know a readable and concise video, that's why I've selected what I have. But just to sort of set up the scene for this ball and this category specifically, so this category is for $5,000, which is relevant partially because it's a lot of money and partially because it's being judged to a much higher standard than say a $200 or $300 category. So that is something that is the case for ballroom, is that the sort of amount of prize money for a category will determine the level to which the outfits are judged, the level to which the performance is judged, and the expectation for sort of the level of effort and production that's put into getting your tens. As a real quick kind of reminder for people who don't know or people who aren't part of the ballroom scene, getting your tens is sort of the first sort of preliminary or qualifying phase of a ball, of a category where you are essentially passing um, the judge's approval and basically saying like, you are good enough to go on to the battles, you have the potential to win this, and you're not going to hurt yourself when you're voguing against someone else at the same time. So this is kind of the first part, is the tens, and then we'll get into the battles. This category specifically, just to set it up, was called the be all and the end all. And the category description was, in the beginning, it was Butch Queens voguing like a femme queen. Through the evolution of Butch Queen Vogue Femme, we've seen many styles of performance. Tonight, we're inviting some of the most unique, charismatic, and electrifying performers to settle the score in a creative catsuit of your choice. So the effect or the outfit that they had to wear was basically just any creative catsuit or bodysuit. So the twist to this category is that there is an invite-only list of performers who are allowed to join. But if you were not on the list, but you wanted to compete, you could pay $100 to the pot and show up and attempt essentially disrupt the list. So the first people we're going to see in this video are people who are not on the list. And then I believe the future videos are all going to be people who are on the list. So just one last clarification is that if you aren't on the list, you can and likely will be chopped if you are not excellent. But if you are already on the list, you have an automatic essential pass to the battles. So the tens is much more sort of like a showcase performance of what you can do than it is like trying to prove to the judges that you're worthy of being there. So sorry for a lot of explanation, but just to set the scene for what's going on here, we're starting with these tens. Some of these are on the list, some of these are not, and then we're going to get into the battles.
Oh, no, this was fantastic, especially for me too, to understand the headspace of what judges are looking at, as well as if we see something happen, all of us have a better understanding, at least as laymen, going into the space.
Yes.
So talk away. Okay.
Yes.
The volume should be fine. Let's test it though. for Vogue.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Is that what they're holding up for 10? You have to get 10 from everybody?
Yes, everyone has to give you 10 to get through.
I think we recognize this answer. Gotta follow directions.
So those were the first three people to go. Those people were not on the list. I wanted to show them partially because they were all great in their own way. Two of them got through with tens. The second one got chopped, and I think it's you could very clearly hear Laomi was like, "It's for $5,000." So that what was like the level of like a maybe if it were for $1,000 they wouldn't have gotten chopped. Maybe for 200, 500, whatever. But it's like that standard is a lot higher. So whatever it was that she didn't like, she didn't consider it sort of worthy of
Mm.
5,000. And I think you're also being obviously judged against the people who went right before you, where it's like, he was incredible. So it's like if you are not at that same level of excitement and energy and sort of like getting the crowd up, then it can work against you for sure. So yeah, those people were all not on the list, but put $100 in to fight for the 5,000. And then I believe there's either one more in the next part or it's everyone, but everyone after this is on the list. They're sort of pre-selected.
Okay, and then I wanted to say that
Mm,
the first person got their tens, the second one did not,
yes.
the third did. This one here.
Yes.
I
Yes.
what I was picking up with the two that passed
Mm,
were the captivation, right?
mm,
I would say their costuming as well. They
yes.
came and showed up, even though our second individual was dressed
Right. Great costume. Right.
like
Yeah.
forever. But I was noticing some of the extensions. It was especially because, like
Hmm.
I said, if you're dealing with $5,000, there's a certain standard, meaning that there's going
Yes.
to be a certain expectation to execution. And
Yeah.
then you look at creativity, difficulty, musicality, all of those
Right.
elements. Our
Right.
third individual, we saw moments with our MC because they play such an important role in the Vogue scene, right?
Hmm.
Where the you could see moments that it was not prepared, but it was
Hmm.
reactionary to our MC, so it was very collaborative and it was cool
Right.
to be there. And then also
Exactly.
how we were getting in and out of our choices was something that was framed in a very it actually matched the idea of what
Hmm.
this particular ball is. So or
Right.
this particular section of it. And
Yes.
which is I would say it is hard to get the audience to be captivated by you
Hmm.
when you're not on the list. I would say
Yes.
that is a much tougher ask. So, like the fact that our first person, the lines were really
Mhm.
nice casting.
Yes.
Also, the lack of, what is it? Not lack of, the what is it? The engagement to the front is something I really admire. Like the
Mm.
fearlessness, the confidence and projection is something that I find that can be very inspiring for people, I would think, because some people can be
Right.
very timid in that separation between those who are
You
there.
can't be. Yeah.
So what does it look like if a judge chops somebody? Because when I watch these, something that I wish I would see is a vantage
Mm,
point of what the judges are actually looking like
for
when
sure.
because I only see this side, of course, because we're watching
Right.
contestants going across. So I think what is looking like chopped is it, do I not hold anything up, or is it a
So it kind of
nine?
depends on the ball. Sometimes they'll give you like little signs that one says tens, one says chop. Sometimes it'll be like just hand signals. So this would be tens, and then like this would be chop, or like just like shaking your head or anything. I mean, it's very like the MC or the commentator rather looks at the panel after a certain amount of time has passed and basically so like is it tens or is it chops, and that is sort of like their cue to either be like yeah sure or no. And generally speaking, it's like a lack of a reaction is not a chop. It's like it's more like you have to actively sort of like be like no that they are not going to go through. The other things I wanted to kind of just touch on really quickly is watching about the five elements of Vogue Femme, right? You have your catwalks, your duck walks, your hands performance, forward performance, and spins and dips. So it's like tens is really also about the sort of use of all of those in the ways to sort of naturally flow together to create a full performance in conjunction with reacting to the crowd and the judges and the commentation. So you really watch how they're using their catwalk to sort of get up towards the front of the stage. They're using those spins and dips to really kind of create those moments punctuated by the beat and by the crashes in the beat. And so it's like really just, as a viewer, especially if this is something you're newer to, really keep an eye out for those elements and how they're strung together, how they're kind of combined with other elements of dance. So our first dancer, who I believe is Stanley Tishi, he's a very obviously like trained dancer outside of ballroom, outside of this. So he has those like lines and extensions and pictures that he can use and utilize in his Vogue in conjunction with the elements to really create these sort of interesting and new sort of combinations for himself. So that's like one thing to point out. It's obviously not like a prerequisite, but I think it's like using what you have outside of ballroom or outside of Vogue as well can give you an edge in these sort of situations.
I
Uh,
love that because you're not the first person within a street dance form to touch
yep.
on that. Because I know in obviously here's my cat, he's here.
Mine will show up too, don't worry.
Love it, cats unite.
Mhm.
Where in breaking or in crump or in popping
Mm.
or bluing styles, a lot of individuals are like, don't erase what history your body has been exposed to. You can use it to help
Mm.
complement a lot of what you're learning and growing and practicing in within those styles, which is why
Yes.
sometimes I know a girl, for example, in the waving scene, a girl named Callie, and she has heavy, like a different background than a typical like popping
Mm.
background when most people go into waving. And so her lines and how she explores the floor is so unique to her for
Mm.
that reason. To your point of we're using the strengths or using what we have, not to what is it? To use as a crutch, but use as a
Right.
supplement to help in creating uniqueness of our phrasing. So yes,
Right.
love
Yeah,
it.
and that is actually like kind of the biggest battle I find for a lot of people who come with sort of traditional or other dance style training into Vogue or into any other fundamental style is sort of finding that balance where especially starting off, the easiest way to get that crowd reaction and approval is to use what they have, from their other styles, but it also can become a crutch where it becomes like they're not really focusing on developing their technique within the style that they're working with because they're using, their technique as sort of something to rely on. So obviously that's not the case here, but it is also something I think for a lot of people who come into Vogue from a traditional dance setting is something that they have to really kind of fight against internally. Is finding that balance between using your styles and using your technique, and then also making sure that you're still training and focusing on the core fundamentals.
Yes, I 1,000% see that. Totally get that for sure.
moment you have all been waiting for. International star Honey has finally joined the house. Covers of magazines dripping Chanel. Casually with celebrities every week. Y'all can have the 5K. I got a 401K.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So that was Honey Balenciaga, who at the time had just left the house of LaBeija, and joined the house of Balenciaga right before this ball. So yeah, this is one of the moments from this ball, was this performance. And I think also it's like this was more of like a production, because like the track was obviously like chosen by her, to, and like pre-recorded in some sense to have that sort of like speaking moment, because again, because she was on the list, it was like very, it's not about like getting your tens, it's about like making this sort of performancey moment, statement to your competitors. So this is a kind of an iconic clip from this ball.
Wow. Wow, wow. Oh my gosh. Oh, so that's okay, okay, okay. Got you. What I find interesting is you can see the uniqueness of everybody,
Hmm.
regardless if they're on the list or not, of
Hmm.
how they're approaching each key element that
Absolutely.
is necessary. And I find that very, very interesting. The amount of, what is it? How is the practice of
Mhm.
this type of exploration to where you're able to explore in this way in, well, I can't. I'm like even trying to formulate my question because it's just it's very admirable the type of practice I would assume would need to be had. Like, is it mostly in exchanges based on how you practice, or do you normally do it by yourself? Because it just kind of depends on the street dance, of
Yeah.
how what's the normal for how does one practice to be able to phrase their movement to showcase uniqueness in this way?
Mm. I mean, I think a lot of it is, during house practices. So again, we have this sort of organizational structure within Ballroom of Houses, and that is where a lot of your kind of rehearsal time or practice time would happen. So every single week for most houses, you would have like a weekly kind of practice where people from the house come together and practice together, and you're sort of able to simulate that kind of, experience of a ball in some senses, more than just practicing by yourself. But obviously, everyone at this level is also probably practicing by themselves in their room or at their studios, constantly, as well. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really about like sort of putting yourself continually also into these spaces. Like this is a much larger ball, or a much like more important sort of function, but there's plenty more of sort of like what we call mini balls or kiki balls as well, which is a different scene. But um, these sort of more practice, like your practice comes in these like $200 categories to be able to work up to something like this, where you're much more, that the pressure is a lot higher.
Okay, got you. So, why did she leave? Is that like a known thing as to why she left?
I mean, I think it gets into,
Any
there's
reason?
it's probably, I don't know, it's drama, I'm assuming, but like, it could be any number of things. It could
Everywhere.
be, yeah, sometimes it'll just be like, because houses have chapters, right, for different regions. So it could be possible that, whoever was leading the region, chapter left and they took all their kids with them. Sometimes that happens, or it'll be a situation where someone leaves because of personal reasons, or they don't feel that it's a fit. Maybe it's like, oh, there's not many other people in this house who are voguing, so I feel like I'm not getting the practice that I need. Whatever the case is, people have all sorts of reasons for leaving houses, or changing houses. But it is very like, it creates this sort of tension or moment in a space like this, where it's like, people are watching her to see kind of what's next. Where it's like, oh, you joined a new house. Are you like a different version of yourself? Are you a more elevated, more polished? Yeah.
It's risky because this
Mhm.
is you've stated in our chat last time
Mm,
how it does our judges have a subjectiveness that is a part
sure.
of the scene. So I would assume that that goes into it as well, is that our judges would know about this. Some would maybe about it,
Right.
where that could be an expectation set as well for, especially if
Exactly.
it's on the list too, you know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and then also it's like obviously the politics of it. Usually with judges panels, you're going to have, as best as you can, one representative of each major house. So depending obviously on the size of the bowl and everything else, you may not be able to have that. But it's like it's very likely that there will be someone from your old house and someone from your new house on that panel actively judging you. So the politics of it all is a very deep and layered
Very different.
conversation that we can,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, got you. Like it's New York Fashion Week.
Uh,
We've done nothing yet. Oh, yeah, they got me there. Here it is. Okay. Wow. That crowd is everything, honestly. I would feel like a superhero if I was
mhm.
and then if they're not cheering for you like that, it makes me wanna, like, cry and all too.
Right.
Hurt.
Uh,
Right?
mm, mhm.
Oh! It's going in the face. Wow. Wow. Okay, so I was wrong.
That was just a side. That was just for the
like literally a side quest.
right.
Wow. This is this is so fun. Wow. Oh, to be there. I wonder
I know.
wow. People would be like, you wouldn't believe it if it wasn't on camera.
Mm,
Right? Right? Oh my
yeah.
god. Great.
Yeah.
Oh, keep over.
Sweet dreams are made of these. When I do disagree, travel the world in the seven seas. Dream, turn that fucking music down or give me $40 to the contestant bill. Thank you. Dear Diary, so I got accepted on the list for the 5,000. But when I look at this list, I see a whole bunch of girls that do not deserve. Like Honey LaBangie. Honey LaBangie gentrified the word Banji because she couldn't be over her mother LaBasia. Meanwhile, voting like a schizophrenic white woman. Next on the list is Antonio Muglia. If you have to do a Trump campaign to be put on the list, maybe you should make your vote great again. And this other girl on the list, Jinx, well, is there a difference between her name and her vote?
This is where the shade begins.
This
Okay.
one. Okay. Were those real people on the list?
Yeah,
That were-
absolutely.
Okay. What?
Yeah, no.
Fill us in, Gravity. What happened?
mean, again-
why did this happen?
So I think again, because this is a situation where you're on the list, you're gonna get your tens regardless. You can use it as an opportunity to kind of do whatever you want with it and have fun with it. So this person, this is Dream Revlon at the time. Dream Revlon, and they decided to, do like a little burn book moment, kind of shade. It's like, shade is a huge part of ballroom and a part of Vogue, and I think it is just sort of like a fun way to like approach the idea of the list. And so like essentially with your tens also you're trying to kind of set yourself up as the main character in some ways where it's like, obviously the battles are the battles and they can go whichever way they go depending on how things happen. But if you have that expectation set up going into them that you're the one to beat, then it puts you at a different level than just being like, okay, that was great, whatever. So it's like, I think part of it is like, if you have this opportunity to do this sort of like character building protagonist moment, then it's like, that's the way to sort of get yourself in there.
Okay. Do people, I'm assuming the answer would be the same as anywhere. Like, people probably get upset. They're like, how dare you talk about me and you don't square up yourself.
Kind of, but it's like, it's part of the, part of the charm.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. Like, is this considered like a huge thing or is this like normal?
No,
like,
it was like for fun. Yeah.
Perfect. Great. That was fun. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask that.
Let's go. 3, 1, production. Bring on the action.
Yes.
Also, I've been noticing a lot of chanting in the audience as well. Is that something normal or specific to this kind of space or environment?
So it's definitely normal. So that's essentially a house chant happens. So if you have a member of the house on the floor, the rest of the house will usually chant their house chant. It's partially like, just kind of like a show of support from the audience, but it's also, another level of musicality and another level of sort of, you know, uh, audio complexity that adds to these sort of events, and it is very much a part of like the sort of soundscape fabric of a ball, where it's like that chant has its own you know rhythm, it has its own whatever. So it's like it's partially it's a show of support. It's also like essentially stating the a house's presence, or like it's very much like um a group, you know not intimidation is not the right word, but it's like a show of force essentially. Like we're here, da 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 da. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's very much normal. Yeah.
Got you. And then it also that must mean our commentator, has to be really on it in order
Oh,
to
for
keep
sure.
its own rhythmic flow.
On
Kind
top
of
of everything else, yeah.
compliment. Yeah, that's so fascinating. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
and I think it's also like it's why necessarily Vogue is so freestyle and improv. Like you really cannot choreograph yourself at all, because of all these sort of layers of spontaneity and all these layers of,
right.
you can't predict what beat's going to play. You can't predict what the commentator is going to say. So the only real things that you have to anchor yourself are, the crashes that happen and just the overall structure. So it's like it really requires that level of connection with the present moment. And I think that's also something that you see in a lot of these, like what makes these performances so excellent is that they're managing the expectation of the audience. They're managing sort of the sounds around them and sort of using it to their own advantage rather than letting themselves be controlled by it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in terms of technique, the other things that I wanted to point out to watch out for, a lot of fake out dips you see. This was definitely like the era of the fake out dips. So you see a lot of those like, "Oop, you think I'm gonna dip? Just kidding." Yeah. And then also just like, the overall use of elements, and as well as, the more like tricks and stunts and situations. So again, it's because this is like higher stakes and people are really trying to show out and impress. You're going to see a lot more of those acrobatic flips, tricks, stunts, whatever,
Mhm.
because you are essentially in a dance competition at the end of the day. So it's like as much as the elements are the core of it, you are also going to see a lot of these sort of show-stopping moments to kind of add to that. But do you have anything else to say about that part? Sorry, I didn't want to rush
Well,
you.
some things that no, you're fine. Some things that was noticing were just the amount of lower body strength needed to
Mhm.
some of our choices because of the balancing and stability. Like it was not really going into dips per se, but how we were lowering to go into a duck walk or go
Right.
into a dip. The pistol squat was something
Mhm.
that I would say if somebody wants to be really good and get on a list, learn how to do a pistol squat fast.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think essentially the thing that I always tell people with duck walk specifically is that if you broke down the movement of a duck walk, you are switching your entire weight between one leg to the other leg. So one of
Mhm.
your biggest advantages in order to be able to do that is being able to be comfortable to have all of your weight on one leg, which is essentially what a pistol squat is.
Right.
Obviously, with the leg fully extended is a little different, but like the way that I teach people to train up to being able to do duck walks and be more comfortable and stay in them longer and feel more safe in them is to really focus on shifting your weight from side to side until you're able to de-weight a leg completely, because that's what allows you that sort of flexibility of movement and that sort of range of motion, to do what you want to do with it. But
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely a ton of lower body strength. I mean, you look at like people are muscular, like this is a sport in every sense. And yeah, so like at this elite level, it's crazy.
I wish. I mean, maybe one day
Right,
I'll
right,
go like, don't go to the gym, I'll go train Vogue, and it's gonna be way better, I think.
right.
Wow, I think it's something else I noticed is just like in most styles, you can tell who is known for their spins, who's known
Hmm.
for their fake outs, or who's known for their setups, or known for their duck walks. Like there's been
Absolutely.
such a because like some of the range gets suggested where you can tell like, oh, this is why they're on the
Hmm.
leg. That
Right.
element right there. So I find that really fun and it makes me very curious too, because like you said, performance, the stakes are higher, there's more money on the line. And there's more eyes on it too, I would naturally assume as well, because the stakes are higher, that the more you show here, there's going to be more of a creative stamina that is required of you in the battles as well.
Mm,
You can't repeat,
exactly.
I would assume, right? You
Right.
can't
Not
said
really,
it.
yeah.
And also it's kind of would be, you can't really anyway, because of,
Yeah.
you said, the other things that were touched on, like our MC commentator,
Right.
you know, creating a different flow, and then your house chant also is going to
Mhm.
resonate differently in the space, different track too. So
Exactly.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. The
Cool.
last thing I really wanted to point out is just the first person in this section to go. Their name is Pussy West in the white bodysuit with the black and the neon green. They
Mm.
were obviously incredible. One of the best Voguers of this generation, in my personal opinion, and a lot of people's opinion. But just like the way that they're transitioning between elements specifically is what I want to highlight, where it's such a smooth and natural transition that you don't even really realize it's happened until they're in the next element. So that I think is really like core to the idea of what makes a great Voguer as opposed to a good Voguer, is being able to really transition seamlessly to where it feels like you're not, checking off a box or, just going through the motions, but you're really seamlessly transitioning between your elements and making it feel like a natural progression.
So you're saying specifically, I thought the balloons were part of it, but
They might have been.
they live in their life in the back. Okay, yeah, but let's give them their flowers.
Yes.
Like, I love just the fact that we
Confidence, yeah.
to walk forward. We had already. We bled through our phrases. That fake out, I really appreciate it. Yeah, that was fun. That got me twice. Boom,
Right.
there it is. Playing with timing. Also, are those nails in the
glove? Yeah.
That right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Transitions, you're absolutely right. Transitions is the element of what makes unique, and it's like ninja trap.
Yeah.
Classical way, because I can.
Yeah.
And we walk away, and we don't give them back. Wow.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah. It's just the presence
okay.
and the confidence and the, the
Absolutely.
expectation management with the audience. And, it's like, that is the yeah.
I got fooled again, and I had just watched it, and I got it again. It's so admirable. I definitely can see it. Wow. Okay. Last on the list. We're in jazz too. We're learning today.
Come on, big bitch.
Sixth learning. No, and they say, "Come on, sixth." That catwalk. He said, I know, I've been saying it.
Uh,
Ball change with the front walk is really fun there. Ah! That would be me. Ah! I'd be so hyped in the crowd, for sure.
Come on, man.
Those are the last members of the list. The main thing I really wanted to focus on for this part is just thinking about how effect or the outfit really plays into the performance and everything, right? Like part of it is just like, the character creation of it all, but also like the physicality. Like the first person who went in the pink bodysuit with the fringe, where it's like that fringe creates different shapes when you're spinning, when you're turning, when you're moving, and that creates kind of an you know, additional layer of movement in the performance. Whereas you have some more like simple, like I know Miles McGuire later in the all gray and black, where it was like it's much more about like, don't pay attention to, the extravagance, pay attention to what I'm doing. This is Toya Revlon, another incredible performer, and obviously the effect was super, you know, cool and like dynamic and has this, the split body creates like an interesting shape and the ruffles create more movement. So it's like it's all like intentional, right? It all
Right.
does something. Yeah. And
Wow.
it ties into so like with Miles, where it's like it's a very sort of simple bare bones outfit in many ways, but that like catwalk with the super pronounced hips all the way down, it allows you to really focus and highlight into that and the shape of the body because you're not getting distracted with ruffles and feathers and lace and whatever.
Right.
So yeah, that's like,
I love
the
this
and
outfit a lot. I would never
yeah,
be able to pull it, but I could
right.
admire the confidence of
Yeah.
others to be able to.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is Paul Mugler. Again, like just like such precise kind of like control
Very
movement. Like the
readable.
hands are everything. Yeah, just very
Very,
graceful,
very
very
clear.
like very clear, very
Wow.
clean.
Yes. And then I think and then it's just we
Mm,
we got more glitz
yeah.
and glam,
Extravagance and yeah. Finger
extravagance. Yes.
gloves and the yeah.
Yes. I love the
Yeah.
little the hop over was so fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is so cool just to see everybody and how they choose, with the prompt a lot of times
Mhm.
in the space, how they choose to interpret it, right? It
Right.
kind of feels like it's a similar, I wonder if it scratches the same parts of your brain as, Met Gala whenever you're like creating
Exactly. Yeah.
that, right? This was really cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have a question.
Mm.
For the individual people who are affiliated with houses, do houses have a
Mhm.
certain brand in terms of the types of fits that normally represent the house? Or is it more so the individual, this is how I vibe
Mm.
and this is who the house I represent? And like, can you see the similarities based on how an individual would compete in
Yeah.
ball based on the house that they rep? Does that make sense?
Sometimes, yeah, definitely. I would say certain houses have reputations or looks or, kind of like styles that they go to. There's obviously also a lot of individuality into it, but I think it's like at the end of the day, you have to sort of get whatever you're going to do approved by the leadership of your house. So
Mhm.
there's that level of sort of aesthetic control as well, and it really it depends on the house and sort of their rules and their sort of kind of codes in terms of like what is acceptable, what isn't. But there is a lot of kind of unity in that too. There's something also called like a walk-in. So a walk-in look is like what everyone shows up to the ball wearing, and that usually is highly coordinated by house to the point where it's like, oh, we're all going to show up in gold and black with feathers or whatever the case is, as sort of another show of unity and together. Yeah. So
I
there is absolutely a
love that.
component of that.
I
Yeah.
love that. Okay, cool. I'm
Yes.
ready to see
Okay.
some battles. Okay, the list has been shown. We got our notes,
Yes.
but they're on the list now, people. I'm ready to see what this is about because I didn't know that
Uh,
what we just saw wasn't the battle format. I knew this was
right.
part of it, but I knew this was like a prelim, right? But I didn't
Yeah.
equate it as a different battle structure compared to what I'm assuming about to see. So this is very exciting for me to
Yes.
see the format.
Yeah, so just to set us up. So again, the way that Vogue categories work is that you start with the tens, which we just saw, and then you go into battles. And battles are when you have two people voting at the same time, and the judges are not, choosing yes or no. They're voting, do I want person one or person two? So for this, the judging is very much like you point to the left, point to the right situation, in the same way that it would be for an all styles battle, no ties. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
oh
no.
my God. I wish other places adopted that. I mean, as much as they understand
Yeah.
high level, make a
The
decision. Like,
the
okay.
only thing sometimes is that if it gets down to the line and it's like it is a tie where it's like 6-6 and the final person, sometimes that last judge, if they really want to be like, they can be like, I want to see a little bit more, and it'll be like another 10-15 seconds. But most of the time, there's not a tie. It also is a function of the fact that in this case, I believe there's probably like 13 judges or 15 judges, some amount of judges. So it's like having a tie in the first place, you would need to go 7-7 and then have a whatever. So most of the time, it'll be like 6-3, 4. Like it's much more sort of decisive.
Question. I do have a question. How do we establish who's against who? How's the bracket
The
made?
the commentator or the people kind of running the ball. So it'll be, usually the commentators, there's usually 2 or 3 commentators switching off. They will be doing a lot of the sort of organizing of who battles who. So the only real like rule of it all is that, it goes in terms of like they'll have everyone sit on one side usually, and then they'll randomly pick from there. But once you've won your battle, you go to the other side until everyone from the first round has gone through situation. Yeah, the only time where that changes would be, let's say we end up in a situation where there's 5 people from one house and 2 people from the other. They would continually have that one house that has a lot of people. One member of them would battle each time, until there's only one house left. So if you ended with 4 people and they were all in the same house, it is what it is. Grand prize, that house.
So this is a battle of houses, not a battle
In
of.
many ways. Yeah, yeah. It's like it is a battle of individuals, and I would say 70-80% of the time it comes down to one person just because of how it works. But sometimes you'll have a situation where, you have 3 Muglers left at the end and it's grand prize Mugler, and it is what it is.
So you're saying, okay, so you're saying, because this is the first I'm hearing,
Uh,
oh my God, okay, brain work. Here we go.
mm,
So you're saying that whenever the brackets are made, we
mm.
avoid people of the same house going against.
Yes, yeah. You never battle against someone from your
I
house.
have never experienced that in any other bracket ever.
Yeah,
That is,
yeah,
I love that so much.
yeah.
But also, I know this is a very different structure compared
Mhm.
to like, hey, I'm with my crew.
Right.
So we
Yes,
had a
yes.
situation at Waves Within last year because I helped with that, and we had in the finals,
Mm,
it was like the top 2 people. They were from the same crew, so the same
mm.
crew was gonna win, but it was just top
Right.
2. So it was cool. It was a cool moment, but
Yeah,
also
yeah.
I'm conditioned to, it doesn't matter if you're in the same crew. I guess
Mm,
your goal is for your crew to be good, where you're all on different parts of your
yeah.
bracket, but they also organize their brackets differently too. So that is so fun. Like I'm going to remember, out of most things, I've never heard that until you just said it. So this was great information.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Those of you watching, y'all, I hope y'all are taking notes. This is so good. I have a video. I can just edit and watch. Haha.
Right.
Okay. No listener with your listener. What are they doing?
I think they're trying to decide if they're having just the people on the list battle other people on the list, or whether it's like a free for all. So I think They're just
Oh,
doing, yeah, I don't really know. I think that's what's going on here. So they've switched
ah,
out who is battling, and then here we go.
we switched out who was battling.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Different outfit. Maybe
Uh,
on the list. My face first. Got it. Wow. Okay. Okay. Do we vote now? Vote I mean, I feel like you've already seen this,
should
right?
we vote?
Should we
You can
vote?
vote. You can vote. I'm curious to see what
No, I
who
feel
you'd
bad.
like.
Who would I
Yeah.
pick? I'm leaning towards my black and white dancer.
Mm,
I would
mm,
say costuming, like you said, can be a huge influence in how the range of our elements come across.
yeah.
Also, from a musicality point with the track, it gave the impression that we were being very clear to hit
Mm,
parts of our track there. From a clarity standpoint as well, or with difficulty from what I was able to see, because it is hard
mm.
a lot of times
Right.
to look at two people at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Both contributed to that moment where there was that little speed change.
Hustle. Yeah, yeah.
It gave like an equal, both of them could have
Mm,
contributed to making that happen versus one
yeah.
person making it their moment. Also, I think uh, our Voger in my favorite outfit. I think that one. I just the
Mm,
favorite outfit. I think I've seen that the presentation and the confidence going forward, because I get the best seat in the house, so
mm,
above the judges. Well, judges are a little bit lower, so
mm.
they're seeing it a little bit from a different angle, but a
Right.
little bit more on the similar side, which is cool. But the turn as well. The turn had a lot of rotations. It had how we got in and out of it was
Mm,
really nice and clean and clear. So clarity was
mm,
the question here. It was now a comparison of who had more complexity, creativity,
mm.
and musicality that is different from what they presented in their beginning. And I would say
Right.
the answer in the black and white gave more of a different flow,
Yeah.
I guess, if that makes sense. That would be
Mm,
how I would justify it
yeah.
from my lens, my go-to. But
Yes.
I'm just having a blast right now, so
Right,
I
right, right. We'll
it
see.
doesn't matter to me. I mean, I am just
Yeah.
okay. What are your thoughts here?
So I think the interesting thing here is like it's always difficult, especially when you're against someone who's very sort of high energy. If you are more of the like clean and soft type of Vogue, I think the struggle is like how do you maintain the same level of attention grabbing? So I don't know. Actually don't really remember what happens with the voting here. But I think what you're seeing here is very much two styles of Vogue that are very different against one another. So it really can come down to the judge's preference as well in terms of what
Okay,
type of, what they value more.
because we also touched on with this. Is this just a free for all in terms of the old school, new school, like new
So
folk?
this is all styles of Vogue
All
Femme. So not old way, not new way, all
that
styles of
gets
Vogue Femme.
tricky too, and
Yeah.
for
But
some
within Vogue
people,
Femme, you have drama and soft and, all these sort of
right?
subtypes. And this is sort of like a drama versus soft moment.
Or got you. Now, the song itself, would that be considered more drama or more soft catered?
Maybe a little bit more dramatic, but it's like it really is like you can do either to either. You don't
Mhm.
really because you don't really have a choice. So it's sort of just like how you sort of manipulate it on your end.
Okay,
Mm.
cool. Makes sense. Okay. Oh, we have a commentator.
There's like three commentators.
Did my Voger in the white and black win that one?
Go
Or
back 5 seconds, and I will tell you.
gotcha. Okay. Boom, right here. Precious?
Persia
Per-
is the in the white and black. So
okay,
he
Persia
stayed. Yeah.
stays. Okay,
Yes.
got
But
you.
it was obviously you could tell it's close. 5-5. Break it. Break
As a
it means it's tied 6-5. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. Because at the end of the day, I think it comes down to more so like justification in a sense, because the goal is to grow as humans.
Right.
Where if you're, I mean, with 5K, it's not about growing.
Right.
I'm here to win and leave. But like, you know, sometimes spaces that say we want to, there needs to be a benefit of, okay, why was I not picked? In this space, it's a little different, but like in a lot of spaces, there are judges who are just like, you just weren't OG enough, or it wasn't my flavor, and that doesn't really help anybody.
Right.
And
Yeah.
a lot of flack on judges for that.
Right.
So that's why for me, I just find it so fascinating that it is very much a subjective scene, but there can be beauty in that, and there can be a lot of where there's certain things about what I'm noticing just in my limited exposure here alongside you in this context, that there's a lot of authenticity maintained, and the politics look different.
Yeah.
Like it's more so the back end outside of what's happening here, but also there's a lot of prep time or prep work in how we're presenting too, where we're not taking it as I suck at life because
Right. No.
pass as much here, like a lot of people would in certain circuits that you've seen people on Instagram, you know, say their piece about it. So I think that's a very fascinating observation that I've been noticing here. And then you attested to it just then of people really don't look and go, oh, well, I guess I just must be a failure here at life. Like we don't go that far here because
Right.
it's subjective. It's just a ball. I just lost 5K.
Mhm.
Now you're taking me out to dinner is really what that
Right.
is. Okay, this is an interesting example of you know that case that we saw in the last one. This one, I would lean more into my Vogue. Oh my God, their name. I'll figure it out one day. I'm sure. In the white.
Pussy. Their name is Pussy. Yeah, that's Pussy West. Yes.
Pussy West or West?
West. That their
West.
house is West.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pussy West. Okay. House of West. Oh, these names are they're so fun. Wow. Like oh man. Okay. I'm leaning more to Pussy West because of, I would say, crowd engagement. I think
absolutely.
Here. We were saturated so much with trick, or we're just going. It was plateauing with my Voguer in the purple velvet. It gave this impression where there was an actual dynamic shift going on. And usage of our space, usage of our levels. And we're like, I'm sorry, I don't need to press up on the judges table. I can just walk. And that's enough. I'm on this list and I just showed you why. It's really what was very fascinating about that. It was that type of projection where one was I'm going to do my own thing, which is what we saw in the last one. But the other person who was showcasing a more dramatic perspective had a lot of skill and clarity that worked for them to me. In this space, so I would say I'm leaning more to Pussy West because of the clarity, but also there was so much confidence in the transitions. I think since you said it, there's so much beauty in the connection of it to where how we're moving through our space was just, it was hard to not want your eye to drift to see where they wanted to go. So that's 100%. Something that I would totally commend. So my vote would go to Pussy West here.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, while we're here, I see why you're like, they're one of the best of the generation. There's a lot of patience and maturity of movement to be able to explore in that way or to have that type of projection. from far back is really
Mhm.
impressive. And
Yeah.
yeah, wow. Okay. Okay. Oh, look. Listen,
Mhm.
no.
That was quick.
Wait. Bye-bye. Oh, the purple
Uh-huh.
Voger, they're the one that made the burn book, like, kind of vibed set on
Yes,
their
yes, yes,
list?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I also wanted I was wondering, because, sometimes when people when they go there, regardless of
Mhm.
intentions,
Right.
do people now be like, "Well, you gotta square up if you're gonna
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, it sets
and
the bar for
square
sure.
up." It's like
Yeah.
the call outs. It's like, if you're gonna call out,
Right.
square up. Okay.
Right.
So I wonder if that kind of bled over into this too, because,
Maybe. Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah. You really have to win to have. Yeah.
you gotta, like,
Yeah.
you're gonna say it. That's a tough one for me, I think.
Yeah.
There's something so captivating about our catwalk, the one
Mhm.
just
That is
known
Miles
Mi
Mugler.
Miles Mugler. Miles
Yes.
Mugler. Is it the House of Mugler?
Mugler. Yeah. House of Miyake Mugler, but Mugler is yes.
Mugler. Okay.
And
So
then the other
so
dancer is Toya Revlon, in case you need to.
Toya Revlon, House of Revlon.
House of Revlon.
I'm picking up on
Yeah.
okay. Okay. So, there were some musicality moments hit from our House of Revlon
Mm,
that were nice near the tail end. The
mm.
first half was from our
From
singer
Miles. Yeah. Yeah.
Miles. Uh, man, that's
I agree. It's 50-50 for
hard.
me too. It's like,
50-50.
yeah, they're both. I love them both in their
They each get a
performance as
5.
well. They're so good. Yeah.
They each get a 5 for me, so it's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna see where the cards
We'll
fall.
see. We'll see.
5 on stage, right? Okay.
What? Yeah. On stage. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. Oh, I'm leaning towards this Voger here. Who are you leaning towards?
Which ones? They're kind of covering each
Oh,
other.
I'm so circling.
Okay, in the pink or in the gold?
Was it in the golds?
Okay, okay.
I was
Yeah, that
leaning
makes
for
sense.
in the gold.
Yeah, I think it could go either way as well. I think these are a little bit more soft and technical, both of them, and I think um yeah, it could go either way. I really liked the way that they kind of interacted with each other. I think that's an interesting thing to point out, where it's like if
Right.
there's sort of a moment of friction, how you deal with that, whether you
Right.
can sort of act like if you're able to make it look like they're bothering you, that's a big plus. So it's like that I think could go either way. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see
Okay.
what the judges say.
That's what I was noticing. I said, "Oh, you made
Yeah.
it about you," and you said, "Let me
Yeah.
fix this problem."
Mhm. What happened there? She was basically saying, "I didn't really care about either you." So whatever, it could be okay, go.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh,
Yeah,
spicy
this also
words.
that made a
Okay.
moment afterwards too.
I wouldn't have picked up on that at all. So thank you
Yeah,
for informing me.
that was shade.
That's
Yes.
the equivalence of "Oh, bless your heart" is in
It
the South, where if you have,
yeah,
like, older
right.
grandma saying "bless your heart," they're like, "You dumb idiot," is really what that
Yeah.
is. Okay. So she didn't care. Got it, got it. The opposite problem. That
Mm.
was interesting. I mean, my eye kept going to
To
our
honey.
yeah. I
Yeah.
kept going to honey. Now, I couldn't tell you. I mean, this is subjective. It's kind of I feel a little weight lifted where it's like,
Right.
it gets there's such a uniqueness of quality of movement, I think, in
Mhm.
how we were getting
Mhm.
in and out of choices and how we were executing our choices. When we did a back
Yeah.
attitude, a lot of times it was very clear and it was
Uh,
correct. Like there
yeah.
wasn't inkling of I'm fearful that we're not going to be doing
Mm.
this correctly and we can hurt ourselves. Like there's no
Yes.
safety issues here. Well, most of them don't give that impression, but there
Right.
was a lot of confidence that I could feel based on context of, okay, here's how I'm choosing to go about this. I'm going down and doing some high level things,
Right.
some high risk choices. I didn't garner any sense of liability at all.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Just
and I think that was definitely so this is really the point in time where Honey was making her name known in ballroom in a big way. And I think that
well,
was one of the things that people really loved about the way that she, that the way that she voted is that it's very like fearless, very like kind of because she had such a strong technical and just like flexibility to be able to sort of get out of anything, even if it didn't go super well. There's obviously this fearlessness that happens and then on the other side of that, the critique that she got was that it was like, oh, it's not controlled as much because it feels like you're just sort of letting everything happen and then like you're able to get out of it, but it's not, deliberate sometimes. But I don't think that's the case here, but I think that was the
yeah,
flip side of it
okay.
that we heard sometimes.
Because what I was noticing so far, I was like, I'm not getting
Mm,
that impression, but also this is like my second time watching
sure,
Honey.
sure, sure. Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like informed knowledge of this is Honey, so
Right.
it could be different if I look at other balls and
Yeah.
other so
I mean, I think it's like if you look at the way that she votes now, so this is Honey Balenciaga, obviously, who's been featured very heavily in Beyonce's Renaissance tours and now Cowboy Carter as well. Now as a voter, she's so much more, I would say, like not controlled necessarily, but it's like it's very like punctuated. It's very clear. Like everything comes across exactly the way that it's planned without sacrificing that sort of fearlessness and everything. So I think that is something that obviously you can see the seeds of here, but you also notice the progression from her from this, where it's like you still have that super, super high level of athleticism and super high level of creativity, but that it's been refined even further since then.
Do you think it's because she's older and it's like
Probably, yeah. I mean, she was like
you and I both know
insanely
we're
young.
like,
Yeah.
I can't do it quite like that anymore. I was too fearless because now I have a podiatrist.
No, but it's way better now. So yeah. Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. But she's always been inspiring.
Still considered chops even here, or is it
No,
only?
that wasn't a chop. No. It's just Honey stayed and Antonio did not.
Oh, okay. I thought it said that Antonio stayed based on.
I think Honey. I don't know. Maybe I missed it.
on
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
No,
You are right. Yep.
no, that's
Yeah.
it's all good.
Yeah.
Oh
So
man.
McGuire stays. Honey does not.
And then another
But
interesting thing to this too is that, because I've touched on this when I've looked at
Mm.
other battles, where just because somebody loses against somebody doesn't mean that they would have just lost in general if they were against somebody else. In that space.
Yes.
So a lot of times people
Yeah,
are like,
yeah,
"Oh,
absolutely.
you lose and you suck."
Right,
No,
right.
if they did the exact same thing against somebody who won against somebody else, it's
Yeah.
know that's just kind of the luck of the draw sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because like the last one that we watched, you had that judge. I don't care about either of you.
Yeah.
But I would say it was more of an opposite problem where
Right.
they're both really good. It's a what's
Mhm.
my preference of that day to that
Exactly.
track and your
Yeah.
outfit. Like literally, it can
Yeah.
be that simple. Okay. I'm giving that a strong to our caged Voger from earlier.
I agree.
Yeah, there was even a dip that didn't resonate from our other Voger, but
They caught it and turned it into
they caught it, and they caught
Mhm.
one that was like a phrase bleed over, where like it
Yes.
normally doesn't happen. They caught that. Like they have really
Right.
good predicting indicators, which is
Yes. Absolutely.
okay, cool. Okay. Your wild card. Do you know anything about that?
So, yeah, God, this was 5 years ago. Let me see. I think there was something where it was like, if you lose a battle and wish to be brought back, then you can call your wild card, which is like an icon or a legend from your house, and then if they win, then you're back in the running. But you can only use it once. I don't. It was like some additional layer to this, but
I
like
mean,
this
for
is
$5,000,
right. This is very
it's pulling
specific
up
to this category.
all the
So
stuff.
yeah, so I think it's like a fun little twist moment. So we'll see how it. I don't remember exactly how this plays out, but I guess we'll see.
vote for the wild card in this case, right? Now, I
Yeah.
have a question. You said each house is represented, right? If they
Yes.
are they eligible to vote when somebody of their house is present? Because depending on the circuit, sometimes people
Yeah. They can still vote, but it's like because there's only one of them, they only get, one vote in the
so it
11. So
doesn't
that's why
matter.
they try and have everyone sort of represented.
Hey, I love it. It's like if you can't stop the connections, everybody connected, go sit there. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So who is this right
So
here?
this is who that's Naomi. That's I mean, she's like the person you think about when you think about Vogue. She was the kind of representative of ballroom on Legendary. She was one of the original people on America's Best Dance Crew for Vogue Evolution back when that sort of happened. She's just
Okay.
like she is the like icon of Vogue in ballroom. So she is like she has an attitude for a reason, and she has like the right to be there and do this.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so
She does look
that's
familiar.
why she's like, yeah.
Great. Do you
Um,
recommend people to watch Legendary? Because I know you
I
were
mean, I
on it.
think it's fun. Yeah, I mean,
A whole other topic entirely,
um,
but
yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a reality TV show, but I think it is ultimately, in many ways, a representation of ballroom, and it is an important part of like media around ballroom and kind of the way that it interacts with the mainstream. Obviously, everyone, is it the same as watching clips from a ball? No, not necessarily, but it's like
way more
it
fun.
still showcases the talent and the sort of the personalities of the people in the scene, and I think it's a good thing to watch regardless.
Got you. Okay, cool. So now she did look familiar. Now I
Mhm.
understand.
Yes.
Great.
So the wild card, so he was the wild card. That was Devo, Ebony, but they voted over him essentially for the original person. Which if you look into the comments of this video, people think it was a shady decision or a political decision.
I
Um,
mean, I
he's incredible. Like Devo is like the
so
one of
good.
the most insane voters I've ever seen. Yeah,
Thanks
but
to the floor.
because he lost this battle, they essentially the previous battle, you don't have a wild card anymore. It is what it is. You're out forever.
Right.
Yes. So
Forever.
we'll see if that happens again. Yeah. Um,
Wow. Yeah, I
yeah.
can understand the politics, but also in my head, because I understand that Vogue is the panel can be so subjective and that's such a
Right.
cultural thing. I'm not as bothered by it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not
It's,
gonna
it's
roast the comments about it. Do I agree with it? I mean, if I was in that
yeah.
position, I personally wouldn't make that decision, but I'm not
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So
And I think it's also like a thing where it's like, if there's the moment of the battle, and then there's also the like pre-knowledge of like you are essentially voting for the person before to stay in. So it's like if you really don't think they deserve to, it's like it doesn't really matter if you thought whatever it is. And then it's also like maybe they are like, oh, you should have showed up in a bodysuit instead of a hoodie, and so whatever the case is. And a lot of this stuff is like subjective. It's not written in the rules, right? It doesn't say in the rules like your wild card has to show up in a matching whatever. But it's like if they think that should have happened, and they think it just sort of looks like you're relying on him, whatever the case is, that could also be why they're judging the way that they are.
yeah, but then the follow-up to that would be then what's the point of the wild card? If
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I totally, but I agree with you though. I
yeah,
can see people vote for the original person because they're like, we still vote for the
yeah,
original person. So I got you. Okay.
yeah.
Got you. That was so fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this one.
It's very much a conversation between the two of them. Like there's a lot of interaction, whether it's like direct or like kind of like you just did that, I'm going to do it, but do it better situation, which is
Yeah,
what happens a lot in battles. Is this very like sort of
101.
kind of interplay. Yeah, but they both have obviously very like stunty, dramatic kind of flavors of performance. So I think again, it's like it's a very much a personal preference.
I think for this one, my superhero Voger, um, there was a part where they could have slammed their foot into their opponent, but they stopped it. Like that was very interesting. The amount of spatial awareness.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like,
you need that.
Something like that. That could have been like for real. If we went down on that, that would have been out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was very fascinating, and like it was right there in the center where that happened. So that was very cool. But I agree with you. There was so much communication and exchange that once again, it makes it really hard to be objective about it. But this is it's not about that. It's about,
right.
You know, also for the type of track, for the context of your movement, what have you already shown in your prelims to where you're, you know, on your list at exhibition.
Essentially, yeah.
Essentially, like I think that's a big thing too. And I also know too, there's a lot of people who most likely will go off of an individual voguer's past experiences and use that to at times be like, oh, I know this wasn't their best.
You could have done better. Yeah.
You could have done better. And then that can work for you or against you, like meeting expectations, which is that's a really dicey thing too. But if you're not emotionally investing in the results of something, unless you needed the 5K for rent, then that's, I understand it's a little different, but
listen, sometimes
I think it's 5K.
Yeah. Sometimes you can tell in a good way, sometimes you can tell in a bad way.
Right, exactly. So, okay, got you. This one, yeah, swing either way.
Yeah.
Something I noticed. How they approach their movement. There was one of them has more of a. They don't send into their choices in a fem posture the same way.
Interesting.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So, and I found that interesting. Where that's what made it very interesting about the exchange is that you could very clearly see their colors of interaction.
Exactly. Yeah.
What makes them unique to them. But then that's what really sparks up preference.
Right.
I'd say somebody's going to commend that kind of lack of feminine drive within the posture, certain choices, because they're still doing the choices. It just resonates.
Exactly. It's just resonating different. Yeah, and it's
normal
exactly.
And standard. Okay.
Yeah, and all that comes into, you know, the play of like gender expression and like, you know, how you're presenting yourself. But it's like again, it's like it's not a technique issue. It is a personal, you know, presentation of how you're choosing to interpret it. So yeah, absolutely, there's a difference between them.
Got you. Okay, I loved it. I love understanding like their That's pretty good, right? Our no lister. That outfit is everything, though.
Yeah.
So why did Pussy West go again?
So I think we're on round 2 now. It's essentially, I think everyone has already gone once.
Everyone's already gone.
Yeah. So whoever stayed, and I think we're now in essentially the next phase of it. Yes. Okay. Yeah. This was a great battle. I loved this battle, and I think like. Yeah, the interactions between them, obviously, the following them all the way back to the end, using the entire space. But it's also just like, again, there's a difference in style here too. Like Pussy's Vogue is very stylized. It's very kind of theatrical and playing around with this character versus a more sort of technical approach of like, you know, very clean, sharp, fast, boom, elements, good, done. So again, this is like it could be a personal preference thing. I still think Pussy did incredible, and it's just so striking. Yeah,
I would lean to Pussy West as well because of the amount of because whenever you saturate in a particular key element or using something without a repackage that can lower your creativity and how you choose to express yourself, which works against you in a battle structure long term, for sure.
Yeah.
If you show any weaknesses of you're starting to recycle or repeat, you're done, and people will psychologically start affiliating those things and equate them to you're just tapped out and we can't see you continue on creatively. So I would lean to Pussy West as well for those types of reasons.
Pussy wins. Pussy wins.
We're band there. They're both in fashion. We're not like now. Okay. Was Miles, is that correct?
No, that was Miles is in the all gray and black bodysuit.
Gotcha.
Yes,
okay, gotcha.
but that is Toya Revlon in the back, and then I would have to double check because I don't want to get it wrong, so I don't know.
Gotcha. No problem.
Yeah,
we had a bit of a hiccup with our shoes. Does that affect how people
potentially? Yeah, I mean, sure, it could definitely affect with it's like and it's like it's if someone feels like they're falling out of a dip or something, to just because of the way things work. So yeah, I mean, it's tough, especially when you're going after incredible battlers, etc. So I don't know. This one I actually don't really remember how it happens. It's always like a camera thing where sometimes it's hard to get everyone in shots. So I missed a lot of both of them, but
yeah, I get that. Do they like those who are sitting there? Do they like have to peek around and do
sometimes?
Sometimes they're drinking their water and they're like,
if it depends.
I love it. Wow. Okay. Cool.
Antonio,
That's Miles. Okay.
No,
Miles is like I love how I'm wrong, and then watch whenever I encounter Miles, I'm going to say that's not Miles. And then okay, I'm leaning more to the black and white.
Persia, yeah.
Persia. It's Persia. Okay.
Yes.
Persia,
yeah, absolutely.
Clarity, and
clean,
and being complete. I think because sometimes whenever I see a bent leg in a dip, a lot of times I don't know why. It could just be preference. The leg is a line, and you want to create a line that finishes, right?
Absolutely.
So even somebody, whenever they're doing a dip, whenever they point that foot, even when
it's perfect. Yeah.
Right. It's like that's textbook grade. And there's something so captivating about that type of quality and completeness. So I was leaning more into Persia for that reason, as well as variety of using space and getting in the judges' faces too.
Yes.
Sometimes you just need to time and have a little moment with them saying, "Oh, I'm still here." Make sure to vote. Okay.
Yeah, so this is Persia versus Antonio Mugler. Actually, was not Antonio Mugler in the last clip, so my bad. It's hard to tell from my. It's been like 5 years since I've watched it. This is Antonio Mugler. I was pretty sure. I was like, I don't think he's wearing two outfits. That would make sense. Yeah, so they both have like incredible kind of senses of musicality and technique and everything. So this one definitely is also a toss up for me as someone who knows both of their Vogue, but it's also like it's like the physical placement of your body too is a thing where it's like if you're in front, you're just going to get more attention from the judges regardless. So it's like right now, it's like you can't really see what he's doing in the back, even if it's fab, you don't know. So sometimes that's an issue as well, where it's about managing the expectations of the audience and the judges, and also just literally being in front to be able to be seen.
Yeah, there's also to your ability to read the room and read your opponent to know if by keeping them up there and you hang out in the back, you're gonna be able to hold it down, or if you need to place yourself
fight for it. Yeah,
fight for it. Like there's also that kind of space where it's like I know they're not really going to captivate the way that I can back here, but that also comes from familiarity of oneself in the space and kind of reading the room. Honestly, it's very
absolutely
because that's what Pussy West is a good example of that.
Yes, it's
right.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
3-2. You're recounting.
Yeah, exactly. No, I didn't. It was just saying like, telling you one again. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 5, 3, 5, 4, 6. You say
Antonio, yeah.
There's like a ton of people that are judging this, right? And so if somebody's in the front, they're only in the front in front of like 2 or 3 people tops.
Right.
That leaves an entire
it's tough,
looking in the back too. So that was interesting because I wonder.
And sometimes, you'll see with the way that judging works, like where it's like if someone has spent all their time on one side of the stage, sometimes the judging will be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all of a sudden switch, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to your opponent because you didn't play to those judges at all. So it's like it's a huge, factor as well.
I love the quantity of judges, the type of environment this is for for that amount of for patterns or situations like that to happen, and that can be a really interesting thing outside of just having 3 people, and then if you entertain entertain all 3,
you win. And
you win. Okay. Wow. say Pussy West gave an exact example of
Mhm.
I'm letting them do their thing, and then I'm gonna come
Right.
in, make the
And
transition
take my
about me, and then I'm gonna see what they did, and I'm gonna answer. Even up
exactly.
to they, that's strategy. That's
Yeah.
really cool, regardless if it's something that's like intentionally done.
Mhm.
Very good, like just sense of like great awareness to be
Oh,
able to do
yeah.
something like that in that context in 45 seconds. Like that was a very interesting round since we just had that conversation. Boom,
Exactly.
right there. Textbook example.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, he's a
Wow.
master of that. So,
I
yeah.
thought you were about to say he's a mess. I get it.
No, 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 no,
I love
no,
it.
absolutely
I love
not.
it. I love it. You said absolutely not. No, I love the audacity. Does that make sense? Like it
Mhm.
gives that
Exactly, yeah.
energy, and I'm like, there's just so much that I am I'm so timid whenever I
Mhm.
in environments that requires a freestyle exploration. I'm so insecure in those spaces. So like just to see people have so much confidence in how, and regardless if they really feel that way or not, it's so
Right.
inspiring. Of I wish I could have that degree of being able to just exist in a space and command attention like that in that way.
Right. Yeah. And it really
Wow.
requires a level of like character embodiment too, where it's like if you watch him, even it's like after the battle on the side, like if his opponent goes up to hug him, he'll be like just like still in character. Cause it's like until the end, it's like you have to really have that sort of embodiment of that energy, even if
Right.
it's not your actual yeah.
It's like method acting, pretty much.
Yeah,
Like you can't
exactly.
pop it off. Like
Yeah.
it's linger. Okay. As soon as those eye contacts come out and I
Mhm.
have that 5K and then we
Right.
can have a conversation.
Right.
I get
Absolutely.
it. Get it. Wow. Because it reminded me of with Pussy Wet and then Miss Vogue herself. So
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna call her Miss Vogue.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That I was watching it was a whacking event and Princess Lockaroo
Mm.
was a judge for it, and when she saw something, she had this money, she just tossed it. She's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
who are you? Like that
yeah.
kind
Right,
of, that's
exactly.
really the only time that I've seen that type of
Right.
interaction between a judge and a contestant in
Mm.
a case.
Absolutely.
It's so interesting. In some cases you're like, should we show that? But then in this case,
Right.
the
No, it's
magic
very
already set the
real.
premise.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that's just what it is, which is
Yeah.
it's consistent. And I think that's the thing that
Mhm.
for me, I'm able to like really approach it in this way, is that it's not just here, it's subjected, and over here, all of a sudden it's like by the textbook XYZ. It's
Right.
every event you're going to go to, it's going to be this way. And I appreciate the
Absolutely.
consistency of that because it allows for somebody to properly have healthy expectations going into a space
Mhm.
that a lot of times we don't see in a lot of battle circuits, which is what a lot of times you see with the politics of judges
Mhm.
versus people participating. There's been some hot tea spilling over about Just a Butte and Summer Dance Forever for judges not looking at contestants during prelims. It's like,
Right.
whoa. Yeah, it's like, but that's a different side topic. But I love the fact that at least we're consistent and honest about it,
Uh-huh.
because it allows us to actually enjoy what we're watching so much more in that
Right.
way. Okay, love it. All right. Moving on. Wild card.
So this is a wild card. Yeah.
Wild card.
Yeah.
Thinking press. You're like, I'm here.
Everybody back the fuck up. Back up. Back the fuck up. Back up.
it was really close. Yeah.
Whoa, that was closer than the other wild card. Hence why people were like, "Yo," about in the comments. So like that, if interesting. Like I'm clocking it now. Okay, I understand. Because I thought it was a way clearer difference of the wild card to our opponent in the last one. This one was like it felt more like an actual
evenly matched. Yeah, absolutely.
Evenly matched, and it actually felt like, okay, wherever it aligns. But the other one really did. I mean, it's kind of hard not to assume it's a political play or there's another reason why, because they're not
this one was close.
Right. Okay. But it just attests to the quality of their performance to be able to knock it out the park, not dressed for the event in that way.
Absolutely. Yes.
Wow. Toya and Antonia?
Yes, absolutely. So again, we have two different styles. I think what I really love about this is Toya's control over like tempo, where it's like fast, stop, and it's like slow down, and that like really is captivating as an audience member. Whereas for Antonio, it's very much about creativity. Like he's very like these kind of like out of the box combos that you've really never seen before, that are really kind of creating this new sort of you're looking at him to see what he's going to do next. So that's like, it's these two different ways of interpreting and two different ways of captivating the audience, which I think is really cool.
Yes, and also part of it is positioning of where you are whenever you do these things.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I could probably swing either way for the same things that we've touched on. I would say
my vote is probably for Toya here, but it really could be either way.
Toya's spin.
It was so good. It's so good.
I was like, oh, it was good. It was good. With Antonio, you notice that Antonio was going about not the same choices, but in the same part of the space. And so I wonder if that could have come across.
Could have affected it too. Yeah.
Right. Because that was something I remember specifically, like they had to do a revo for that because they were hanging out back there and he didn't.
Right.
Okay. And I know I'm probably not the only one who feels this way, where I had people who were appreciative that I was watching Whacking Battles from prelims all the way through to finals, because a lot of times people do the highlights. And so I know there's probably a lot of people who are going to be very appreciative of being able to like look at a ball and understand way more what's going on.
Right.
In this kind of context, because I know for me, I can only assume based off of, common denominator stuff, but this has been so helpful for myself as well, to be able to look at these moving forward, to be like, okay, this is probably 7 out of 10 chance this is probably what's going on. And so it provides more, I have more emotional investment I can provide into and enjoying it for what it is. So I love it. Okay. Hi.
So good.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
I
I would
think what's oh sorry.
probably
I think what's so cool about what Pussy does here is it's like it's a way of interacting with what your opponent is doing, right? So it's like his opponent's doing all these like tricks and stunts, and he's able to be like, I'll just slow down and melt in the back, and then
yes.
point out what you're doing and be like, you're crazy. It's like that subtle kind of like conversation of what it is like shade using vote, right? Like so you're really like telling that story. And yeah, I mean, this is a masterclass.
That was the part that I was gonna reference.
Yeah.
It was that part. It's like, oh, the
Mm.
readability of that was it's really
Yeah.
reading the room and reading like, okay, you're going. I don't need to
Mm.
go, and you're gonna look at me anyway. So
Right.
there's that.
And the fact that he's battled so much at this point, like there is that element of like
Yes.
fatigue and like so to be able to kind of slow things down on your own terms too and be like, I don't have to do all that. You're still gonna look at me. It's like that there's a dual purpose there where it's like,
Oh yeah.
to
Oh
get
yeah.
some break. Yeah.
And then the wild cards give a glamorized tiebreaker is kind of what they come across as well. It's like
Yeah,
your
essentially.
idea, it's like an extra round of
Right.
fatigue that you're kind of resting into as well,
Right.
but they really work against you. So
Yeah.
it's wow. Yeah, I am leaning because of the readability
Yeah.
and still showcasing a flow or
Right.
the choices are introduced in a way that aren't familiar. They don't come
Uh-huh.
across like, oh, I already saw that like 2 rounds ago.
Yeah,
Which to
exactly.
your point, there's the physical
So many
standpoint,
rounds. Like, yeah.
so many
Yeah.
rounds, but
Mhm.
also it doesn't showcase creative fatigue either, where
Mhm.
it's like it's the first round, like you wouldn't be able to tell, which is very commendable.
Yes.
Wow.
So actually, just for context of what's happening here is basically Stanley Tucci, who is the black and purple bodysuit in the front here. What
Okay.
they're saying is that he has not battled as much as other people. He's probably being like, well, they never like picked me. They forgot that I was here situation, and they might
That's
be like, oh,
right.
you're hiding. You're not. You should have been more visible. Da da da. So that's the conversation that's going on right now, where it's like
Because
you
there were
haven't
2
battled as
people
much as
not on the
everyone else.
list.
Exactly.
Not on the list, and we only saw 1.
Yeah.
So that's what this is. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
So
It
yeah.
was great from
Yeah.
whenever I
So
was
we'll see.
okay.
We'll see what happens.
Okay. So who was your friend? Oh, I'm sorry. No. Interesting. I am curious how this is going to pan out because it's
Mm.
not really about the match. It's about how do we want to go about
Right.
with the individual. It's like what I
Yeah.
bet people are thinking more so because they're like,
Yeah. There's
I already have my
that
reference.
aspect too.
Man, okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 3. Which one? 5, 3, 5, 4. 5-second penalty.
I think. Yeah.
completed as many dips, right? As
Yeah, and I think this one is also where there's maybe some people who see that as like he's relying on his technique and he's just, giving leg, stretch. And so it's like that is a pitfall there where it's like, sometimes it's really, really well integrated. Sometimes it can feel
I'm just
like,
relying upon that because it helped
yeah,
me this last round. Yeah, and
yeah,
that's also comes down to knowing when it's knowing when to use it and when not. Like it's that kind
yes,
of just
yeah,
awareness within the space because it's not just isolated to a battle, it's a compilation of all the battles you've done. They have to
absolutely.
be mindful and it gets trickier and trickier the more you go because you're more exhausted. So you don't have as
Hmm.
much disposal in vocabulary or in phrasing. So
Right.
okay, so most likely we're going to Toya for
I think
this.
I
What? You think? Okay.
I don't remember. Yeah. What is this?
I mean,
So
yeah.
now we have one final. The final is between Toya and Pussy.
Do judges? I mean, because it's subjective, is probably anything. Would they
Yeah.
go in isolation of this battle or a compilation of the
I
entire
think
thing?
it's like, in theory, it's an isolation. In reality, there's a compilation of it. Yeah.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
reality, they're
Yeah.
like, yeah. Okay, got it. Okay. That's a Pussy West win right there.
It is to
Yeah.
me. It's also like I think again, both of these people have battled like 8 times at this point, so the level of exhaustion is very high at this point, and it also is like how are you going to use what you have left in your tank to the best of your ability? But they're two masters of their craft, and they're both excellent, and they're just kind of like last gasping it.
Wow, that was
Yeah,
so fascinating, and also too, that is part of the game of it, of whenever you
right.
go about
Spacing and endurance, and
knowing
yeah.
when to use your energy where and
Hmm.
against who too. So
Yeah,
that was something that really worked in Pussy West's favor, and both
absolutely,
of them had to deal with extra battles on top of what
absolutely. Yeah,
it's not come. It doesn't come down to oh, Pussy West had less battles. No,
yeah.
I
No, they both battle forever.
they
Yeah,
both they were booked and blessed during this whole
absolutely.
little
Yeah,
situation here.
yeah.
Wow. Okay, so it's looking like a clean
So
win.
we'll see. We'll see.
I love the supportiveness of it. It's like
Absolutely.
when you're
Yeah.
a part of a house, you're a part of a house,
Yeah.
capital H. There, your ride or die.
Yeah.
And it brings a
That-
certain degree of representation too, because I know in a lot of
mm,
spaces, when you go by yourself, it can be very isolating and it's hard to
absolutely.
feel accepted in a space or
Yeah. Having that support is crucial.
it really, yeah, and it allows for really great connection for sure. Like there's probably I'm
Hmm.
assuming certain houses that get along very well and some houses that are like rivals to a degree,
Sure.
right? So
Yeah.
there's probably be certain types of relationships that can be made because of your affiliation, I would assume too.
Mm.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's also like, even outside of the house structure, I think it was very clear to everyone in the audience that he deserved it. So it's like there was no
Oh,
controversy
yeah.
here. There was no like
Oh,
it, just watching it even from our perspective, it's like it's very clear that this is someone who has been dominating the entire night and was like very clearly at the highest level.
oh, yeah.
So I think in cases like this, it's like the support is gonna extend even beyond the house for everyone. It's like, they know that they just witnessed like someone very deservingly, getting
Oh,
their shine.
wow.
Yeah,
Now, I guess the question would be balls in more recent years compared
sure.
to 2020, because this is
Uh,
right before everything
Pre-pandemic,
changes
yes.
in many spaces. So has the quality of Vogue, like what directionally has shifted in the scene
Yeah,
from
it's
here
a
to
diff. Yeah, it's really it's not a one way answer, but for sure there was kind of a bit of a hard reset for the pandemic. Like there just were not balls for at least a year and a half, and it was a little bit slow to come back as well. But you also had this like increased mainstream interest from Legendary and from Pose and from the Renaissance tour and all these other factors. So you had like a big influx of people as well. So it goes in cycles, and many of the people from this video are still actively, competing today, because this is, 5 years ago. It's not 20 years ago, but a lot of them are still very much around and very much, at the top of their game. A lot of them are now legends, and
Mhm.
yeah. So I think things have definitely changed, but it's not really one way or another direction wise. Um, uh, but yeah, it's really cool to see this because this really was like the last sort of big moment ball before everything shut down. This actually happened while we were filming Legendary. We were in Connecticut and this was happening in New York. I think some people were able to sort of go and just watch. Obviously, they couldn't compete, but they would just watch on the weekends as this happened live. I think I was in the hotel rehearsing or something. But this was it's special, I think, for that reason as well, where it's like this was
Wow.
very much like when everything was just beginning to happen.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Oh my goodness. This was incredible. Just to watch and to hear your thoughts and to hear about just the little nooks and crannies of what normally you wouldn't pick up on if you aren't a
Yeah,
part of it actively in the space. So
yeah.
that was so fascinating. Like I learned I'm very humbled and I'm
Mm,
very thankful that we got to do this in this way. And I learned so much. And I know so many people probably have learned so much. And they may have a ton of questions, which you've already said.
sure.
Just
I'm
DM
happy to
away.
answer them. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Oh
Yeah.
man. Oh man. So like I had mentioned, I don't know if it was on camera or not when they're
Mm.
recording, but I do have a video I would love for you to watch. You may have
Oh,
seen it.
okay. Oh, yes.
Or
Okay.
if we could do
For
that.
sure. Yeah.
Okay, so I pulled up a video of Jamie from and this was in 2022. So this is post
Mm.
2020. And I many people who've watched me for whacking battles, Jamie has been within that scene, and you see a heavy Vogue influence. I know he came from a Vogue background. He does Vogue work in the commercial scene too in Korea with some
Mm.
artists, which is really nice. This is one that went viral, I would assume, because Gravity, you said you've seen just
I've
the
seen
for
clips.
the
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
Right. And so I wanted to, as an individual who I know other people have watched me appreciate, I want to give Jamie his flowers with you here. And you just tell me what about how Jamie moves? Why do I like it so much?
Mm.
That's if you could
Right.
help.
Sure.
Here we go.
Mm.
know what necessarily happened.
Oh, I think I know what happened there.
Okay, what happened?
So my assumption is that it was just them who walked. They're both in the same house, so they didn't
Mm,
need to battle. Is my guess
okay, got you.
because they
Okay,
don't battle, right? That's the end of the clip,
that's
basically.
the end.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That would be an example of they're in the same house.
Exactly.
And I know people would be able to comment under this if they made it this far, which
Mm,
I know a lot of people will. Well, they'll be able to verify that for us too.
mm.
This.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I don't know about in 2022, but I know now that Jamie is part of the House of Miyaki Mugler in the mainstream scene, and then the House of Louboutin in the Kiki scene. I believe this is a Kiki ball, so I'm
It
assuming
is.
that they're
Oh,
both Louboutins, or maybe this is like before, and they're both part of a different house. It's been a few years, but yeah. So um, honestly, I think the thing that about this clip that I think is really cool and worth pointing out is it's like I think it also speaks to the sort of universal is like the universal nature of ballroom these days, but also the way that it is localized in the sense that like the idea of the military is obviously a transnational idea. It like um defies boundaries, but at the same time it means different things in different cultures. And it's like in South Korea, you obviously have the like mandatory military conscription rather of 2 years for every male in South Korea. So I think there's that like idea that is like the subversion of there means something different than it would say in America, of like the kind of confluence of military presentation and queerness and voguing. So it's like that is at play as well, and that's something that is like deeply local as well as it is universal.
yeah. No, I love that you pointed that out, and I also
Mm,
too. It's I think that pretty much is it, which was why this probably went as viral as it did.
right,
Like everybody's got to do their time in
right,
Korea,
right.
regardless
Yeah,
of of anything. So
yeah.
it's very fascinating. Just I think there immediately. It was
Uh-huh.
the hip of
Yeah.
the catwalk with the.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. Yeah.
If I were to be subjective to like anybody, it would probably be to Jamie. If I'm,
That makes
or you,
sense.
of course, with you,
Uh,
absolutely. I'd be like, you could roll on the floor. 10
uh-huh.
gravity.
Thank
Since
you. I
technically
hope you're on the panel.
you want me on the panel, you're like, okay,
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
somewhere. Make sure Jess is there. Don't ask
Yeah.
questions. I'm not a part of a house though.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I'm just kind of there on the side. I
Right.
commentate.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm so glad. We got to watch that, and that helps tie into an element or a
That we
situation
talked about
that I know
earlier,
there's probably
yeah.
so many people would be like, I don't know what was
What
the
happened? Yeah.
right because anyway. Ah. Oh my gosh, this was magical. We're back. We're here. Any final thoughts to our time here together before we chop it off? We're done.
I think my main thing is really just like obviously this was like one category and one ball, but I think it's a good sort of descriptor of how vast this world is and how like much content and footage there is out there if you're willing to go look for it, right? Like this is a single category at a single ball. There are hundreds of balls a year. They're mostly all published online somewhere. The channel that these videos came from, which is Ballroom Throwbacks, they're also the ones who threw this ball. It's again, I think I shouted it out in the last time, but they're an amazing resource for kind of seeing balls that happen every single week. And around the country. And I think it's really like if this is something that you're interested in, there is no better thing to watch than to go and really look at these, and also to look at them actively. Like not just watching them for your own entertainment, but it's like watching them instructively. Like why did this person win? Why did this person lose? Why did this person get tens? Why did this person get chopped? And even just like obviously being there is one thing, but even watching it, you're sort of subconsciously picking up how you can approach your own performance and the things that you can do in order to be one of the people that wins in the future. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's like whenever you can watch these events live is the best way, but watching the primary footage on YouTube is also a great option.
I love that you touched on not just watching something for entertainment, but looking at it instructively, where you can
Mm,
learn something and learn to understand, or learn to be a listening ear to it, like to the nuances, because a lot of times there will be times where you assume this is how the culture is.
Mhm.
Let's say you're familiar with the culture and you just, instead of listening and seeing the differences, you just project a different culture on top of it, right? Especially, you know, when we
Exactly.
talk about Whacking and Vogue, they're sister styles, but they're not the
Right.
same. And so if
Right.
you just slap on, okay, whatever happens at Whacking happens at Vogue. No, it's not.
No, laughing battles do not look like what we just saw.
Not at all. Oh, absolutely not. Not at all.
Yeah,
The tiebreakers is when you see them exchange collectively.
exactly.
But they
Yeah,
can do 1v1, 5v5. It just depends on the circuit of whacking and
right.
of the
Yeah.
universal global scale of it. So I really do love that you touched on that, because it it validates, hopefully, the curious individual who, you know, has that inkling in their heart as to, you know, I have this pull to want to know why, and I want to
Exactly.
learn, and hopefully we're able to be like a validation to them of being in a space to look and say if something you liked it or didn't like it, and trying to understand the why behind it.
Why?
There's beauty in
Exactly.
joy, and that is a respectful aspect of your contribution to being a viewer or a spectator or
Mhm.
a layman within a particular culture. Is just
100%.
being there and not just blindly just taking somebody's word for it, but just like
Mhm.
going and having the curiosity and stepping stones, and using us as that stepping stone to be able to experience it for yourself. Because I would 1,000% agree with you. Seeing something on a screen is one thing, but being able to physically be in the space, you're going to see so many other things outside of that camera, because that camera is one vantage
100%.
out of thousands you could experience. And so I
Yes.
love that you touched on that. And I also know too, as somebody who's been I do carry a lot of social anxiety of not
Mhm.
I go somewhere and not being a part of a house, or
Mhm.
being a part of a
Right.
purposeful
Ballroom
reason
is it, yeah.
there. Right. But by my conversations with you have given me courage to want to entertain
Mhm.
going, even if it may feel scary, but being able
Sure.
to just to know where to go, where to look, and just to try, because you never know. So I thank you for that. And personally, I would love my first ball to be with you. I think that would just be way more fun. So, but that I have a lot more courage to try, though. You know,
Mhm.
and that's something that I wouldn't have been able to say this time last year. And so I
For
really
sure.
thank you for that gravity. And I
Of
know there's probably
course.
many people that feel that way about watching you, I know me too a lot of times.
Mhm.
And so you and I both understand the weight of the responsibility of our positions in these spaces.
Yes.
There's a lot of grace built in for that, but also
Right.
I love the exchange that we've been able to have, and the fact that we're able to grow together and being
Mhm.
open to this kind of dialogue. And I just think this was wonderful. Wonderful,
Of
wonderful.
course. Thank you
So is
again
there
for
any
having me. I'm always happy to, yeah. I have nothing else to say. Yeah. If you have questions, leave them in the comments and I will be there.
Oh yes. So you guys know me and you know Gravity, and this was the first Vogue Ball kind of review that I've ever done for YouTube, Patreon, anywhere. So, and I loved that I was honored to be alongside Gravity for it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And be sure to check out, if you are curious about any technique, any more education history based tied to Vogue. Gravity has so many resources on his channel. It's fantastic.
Uh-huh.
I still use your stuff.
Thank
So
you.
this is great. But yeah, and we will see you guys later. We'll see you later.